Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com, and this video is for Travis in Indiana. So here we have a 99 S500 door lock pump, PSC pump in other words, and basically it is repaired now, and I want to show you the operation. Now before we go over to testing, a couple of points I want to make. Now first point is, when I opened the pump itself, the internal part was completely missing. It wasn't there at all. The wires were just like taped around and just left there, so this wasn't there. So this is my part with the motor and all the vanes and everything. This is the last one I have. This is valuable because sometimes those vanes wear out and you don't have good pressure or vacuum. This one was nice, so the pressure and vacuum is really nice and high. So that's was missing. Another point I want to make is this SFG port. I'm going to try to zoom on it, and something like that. As you can see, this particular port was chewed up on top. As you can see, I tried to straighten it and I cut it a bit, just a little bit, because what's very important here is the surface. This surface is where it seals, the top end, not the bottom or inside. It's just this shaft right here. This is where it seals. So to seal it well, you have those seals inside. As you can see, that's the connector, a similar connector. Connector that goes here has a little clip that actually clips on it. But as you can see inside, you got this black seal, and that's what seals it. And this is the Teflon, kind of like a buffer that makes it tight when you push it on. So it is still sealing as long as you have like good rubber O-ring in your connector. You'll be okay, because if it's like up a little bit like such, it's not sealing already because the edges are chewed up a bit. That's not nice. But the shaft itself seems to be just like slight hair damage over here. But again, you know, it's very important to have this particular surface in very good condition. So this one is working right now on the bench, so we should be okay with the overall sealing of this port. It's not going to burn the pump though, even if it's leaking. It's the rear handle in the trunk that comes in and out. This is the port for that. So even if it just times out, it's still not going to burn the pump because you're not using it all the time. What's going to burn the pump are these two. These are very important. So right now the pump is energized at 12 volts. I like to run them at 12 volts. As you see, that's like 12 volts. Actually, we can bump it up to about 12.5, something like this, 12.5. So this is basically going to run the pump at the battery voltage. So say the car is not running, so the batteries, if it's freshly charged, then it's like 12.6. We can run it lower at like about 11.5. This is like dead battery voltage, but I like to run it with the normal battery voltage just because that's how it was intended to be, 12.5 at least. And 14 volts, of course, is going to get pump to pump faster, and it's going to shut down and activate, deactivate sooner because the pressures rises. The pressures and vacuums, they rise real quick. So first things first, the pump is energized right now. It's been sitting on the bench for like 20 minutes. It does not cycle. There are no internal leaks. So let's introduce the leak. This is vacuum. So that was vacuum leak introduced. The pressure reservoir is filled up. As you can see, pressure storage tank is full. I'm going to introduce the leak here. You see, you need feedback from the pressure reservoir, so if you have any leaks in this circuit, the pump is going to continue cycling and burning itself. That's a very important circuit. Vacuum, with vacuum, it's kind of like so there's a little difference, because when the engine is not running, you might have the pump cycling if ignition is on but the engine isn't running. But once engine is running, if there is no vacuum leak in this circuit, it's going to pull vacuum from the engine. So it should shut down just fine. And obviously if the car has perfectly sealed vacuum circuit, then it's not going to cycle just like it is on the bench. So let's do some tests. So first thing we're gonna do is that slightly damaged point, the port, the trunk handle. So I'm gonna push it down on it relatively straight. As you can see, it's like as straight as I can get, so it seals off. We have 0.5 to 0.5, so this is the span. The vacuum is to pull handle in, pressure is to push handle out. So let's do the test. So we're going to push handle out. As you can see, pressure was really high, vacuum is very high. That's very nice. So it's even above specification, because the vanes, the pump I put in there is a really nice set, so it's very strong. You can see it's over 0.5, because spec is 0.3 to about 0.6, so we're about at maximum, which is great. And as you can see, pump comes on and off, so there is no leak here. Valves activate just fine. So this circuit works. The next circuit, this is our headrest and remote trunk release. Now S500s came with electric trunk release, electric headrests. I'll test that circuit anyway for the hell of it. So that was our headrest circuit, even though you don't have it. But if it would have been S320 or S420, you would have that circuit active. And the trunk popper, first we're gonna block this. This is to unlock. When you pop the truck, when you pump the truck, the trunk rather, when you pop it with the button or with the remote key, it unlocks it first. So this port right here, I can block it off. This is to unlock the trunk altogether. And then when you pop it, it's going to activate second circuit to pop it up. Oops. There. I'm sorry, you have to, these are two connected with each other. So to do the most ideal experiment, you have to really block it. But anyway, it does work fine. I've closed the terminal. It works just fine. So that's the trunk remote release. And most important is our door locks. So let's lock and unlock the vehicle. This was locking. As you see, vacuum is really high again, over 0.5, and unlocking, this one jumps to 0.6, so it's great. I mean, this works really nice. I mean, again, even if it's a little lower, nothing's going to change really. Everything is gonna work. It's just that this one is very strong. Now on other terminals you will have weaker pressure and vacuum, and the reason for that is because the switch over valves, they work together. So it's like first you pump one circuit, then you pump another circuit. So pressure is high, and then by the time the gauge moves, it already switches over to another circuit, so therefore you don't see much higher pressure and vacuum. So let me show you. This is 0.5. As you can see how quickly it jumped, because it switches over to another circuit and that one is blocked. So therefore we cannot even see on the gauge that it reaches 0.5, but in reality it does. But inertia of the gauge does not let us see that. But by the sound of the pump, it just pumps it real quick and very strong and switches over to the sealed terminals here. So what can I say? This is a good working pump now, so I don't have no problems with it. This is definitely a keeper at this point. So it is going to work. I mean, I have no issues with any leaks. I did replace the hose, I did replace the wires, and the motor itself has been running on testing, and I can touch it so it's not overheating. This is also very important, the way to assemble this right so it doesn't overheat, because there is expansion there, and when it expands the actual vanes can touch the case and it starts overheating and the motor is going to burn itself, so you do not want that happening. So this is all basically. The pump is ready to go. I'm gonna unsolder all the wires and have it ready for shipping. Alright, so this is all. This is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.